Well, listen, it's a great win. I'm so happy for our guys. Obviously, it's been a minute since we've been in the victory side of things, and it's a historic win in terms of, right, the first ever win for the University of Utah men's basketball in Big 12 play. So, but just excited for our guys. I mean, these guys, it's been a long 3 weeks in some respects, but I'm really proud of them because we stayed with it. I feel like the last week since the Texas Tech loss. We came back on Sunday and we practiced hard, not real long, but hard. And I just thought our intensity, our physicality, our multiple effort plays has been good since then. I couldn't say that the first, against Baylor or Texas Tech, quite frankly. Now, we've had 3 really hard games out of the gate. Like, when you're at Baylor, you see how Texas Tech is playing. I mean, what they did today. Now, they ended up losing by 1, but toe-to-toe with Iowa State, and Iowa State's really good. So we hung in there. We stayed with it. You got to have a short memory, but you got to be able to learn from what's going on. And we've had 2 really, our practices going to Iowa State, and we did some really good things. Not in the moral losses, but you could see a clear improvement in that night, and I thought we carried it forward these last couple practices into tonight, and we displayed it. Obviously we played some different lineups, so to speak, went bigger, got out of the gate really, really well, 12-2, was it 8-0, I think, and 12-2, right from the jump, and just had a good look to us. So many good things tonight. Just, first of all, just defensively, I thought we defended and rebounded at a very good level. We had 2 little stints where we got hurt on the glass in the first half, and in the second half, we got hurt a little bit in transition defense when we were up by 23, 20, or whatever it was. We did a good job of protecting the paint. These guys against K-State, they controlled the whole game in their win. I mean, they're up by 15-20 almost the whole game. And they scored 31 points against K-State off of turnovers. And, of course, after 2 of our 3 games, where Baylor scored 22 off our turnovers and Iowa State scored 25, it was a high level of, like, we got to value the ball. We got to take care of the ball. And we did a great job tonight, 23 assists to 11 turnovers. Thought Mike and Miro had really good floor games, but it was really everybody just making simple basketball plays. I thought our shot selection was way better tonight. Like, we weren't just coming off hoisting shots to hoist them. We were just trusting each other and making great plays on that end of the floor. And then, we had some really good production by a lot of different guys, but at the same time, we shoot 56% from the field, 46 points in the paint to their 24 was huge. And then our starters, just our efficiency, right? Jake goes 5 for 5, 16 points on 5 shots with 3 assists. Ezra left a few out there that, he's got to make for us. But he goes 7 for 8 from the free throw line, which was big for 21. I think those are career highs for both those guys. And then KD, obviously, off the bench, going 8 for 10 from the field with 9 rebounds for 16 points. And I highlight those guys because they did so many good things in their efficiency, but we just made a lot of right plays for each other and playing super connected on that side of the ball. So excited to see. It's a win. You got to take care of business at home. But I'm so happy for our guys, and now we got to continue this as we move forward.
Craig, you've talked about wanting to obviously get back to that fluidity that you had on offense at the beginning of the season. Do you feel like your team is getting there, or were they just taking advantage of kind of the matchups that they had today that allowed them to kind of get that?
Yeah, last guy I want to single out to is Gabe Matson was plus 32 tonight when he was on the floor. Like, I just thought he did a lot of good things that way. It's a little bit of both. Just really, really harping on valuing the ball and shot selection. I just felt like we were in a stretch there where we're just, I want to play aggressive in an attack mode, but, man, we can't in this league. And listen, this is a good league, and it's our first time going through this league. So you're learning. Every league's different. This league is definitely different than the Pac-12 in a multitude of ways. So we're learning, too, here a little bit, right? And our guys are learning. The physicality, how the games are typically called. Probably less or more fouls called tonight than any of the 3 games we've played, without a question. I'm just happy with how we just really share. I don't know how many bad shots we took. I don't think it was many. You know what I mean? And we just kept looking below. Now, part of it's also how they play, because they are ultra aggressive. They are ultra aggressive to the ball. They make the game. I mean, we showed our guys a bunch of clips. It didn't matter what game I watched. These guys can make the game frenetic. Like, it's just almost every game they play, there's like there's probably 3 or 4 times a game where it's something kind of crazy happens over here. Then it goes back the other way and something kind of crazy. And then it comes back to, and there's like 5 or 6 possessions in a row. It's just like craziness is happening. And I thought there wasn't really much of that tonight. Like, I thought we just kept control and kept our poise and just took what they gave us, right? And so I'm really proud of that. Now, as long as we take care of the ball, we knew there was going to be open shots because they load so strong to the ball and they're so aggressive to the paint. So we had to take care of that thing, and we knew if we did, we'd get some clean looks.
On the defense side of the ball, you had a number of consecutive stops throughout the game.
Yeah.
After the Iowa State game, you talked about having a standard of play with physicality and toughness. And do you feel like you got that standard of play tonight?
I do feel like we got that tonight. And I do feel like we're learning what it takes to do that every day. If you would have been at our practice on Saturday, no, Thursday. So Thursday's practice may have been the best practice since I've been here. It was, it was high level in every facet, but specifically that. This is big boy basketball, and you've got to impose your will, and you might not always win, right? But you have to control that end. There's so many good players. There's so many good players and dynamic players, and so we got to be connected on that end of the floor. And we've made real progress specifically the last week. And I think, I just think the guys have felt it. Like when you're out there playing those teams, like you have to learn and you adjust and you feel what it feels like. You know what I mean? So then you really carry it forward. Like as a coach, you're always, but going through those kind of battles, it hardens you up, and you just feel what it takes to do that. And I think we're getting a taste and a sense of what it is, and what's exciting. There's certainly more room to grow.
Craig, you've tinkered with the starting lineup a lot this season. I'm curious, what was your take on tonight's starting lineup, and how comfortable are you moving with that starting 5 moving forward into conference play?
Well, if our guys play like that, I'm really excited. I mean, you just look at all those guys. I mean, Gabe's plus 32, Mike's plus 18, Lawson's plus 19, Jake's plus 26, Ezra's plus 17. Got off to a great start. We've had some games here where we've not got off to a good start, and so, Jake brings some different things to the table, right? That kind of some things that aren't real sexy and maybe don't show up on here that really impact winning. And, I think KD's going to be able to keep doing those types of things as well for us. And listen, you got to produce, man. Like this competition, guys got to show up every day and you got to produce. And the guys that produce and the guys that impact winning, those are the guys that are going to find their way on the floor. And so tonight, our starting lineup I thought was really good. And there was some real, I thought, natural synergy out there on both ends of the floor.
Craig, just kind of going back to that start, you get out 12-0, and you've had a few games here where the other team is kind of doing that to you. Just from a confidence level standpoint that you saw in your guys, because you've talked about effort and that the effort has been there. I mean, just how much was that start to be able to kind of help you go from the efforts there to the results are starting to show up?
Yeah, I mean, I think our guys had a real, it's like I said, since Christmas or the Iowa game, it's been a bit of but our guys have hung in there mentally and physically and kept showing up. And like I said, specifically from the Texas Tech game especially, but when you get off to a good start, I think it gives you confidence, right? It helped we made our free throw. I mean, what are we? 17 for 24 from the free throw line, right? And so you make those early. Gabe made the first 2 of the game, and you see the ball go through the hole that way. That stuff can be contagious a little bit. But I think our guys had a real edge to us, a real confidence. to us going into tonight's game. It felt good to be at home again. We've only had, we had a lot of home games in non-con. Feels like we haven't been at home for a while. I know we had the Texas Tech game, but before it just felt like, so it was good to kind of get back at home and feel the energy of the crowd. And we made some real, and then the other part, like just some of the plays that we were able to make. Obviously, we started the game with 7 straight stops. So that's 2 kills right out of the gate. So that gives you confidence. And then some of the interior passing that I thought that we had in that first half, where we weren't forcing, we were just constantly looking, I call it looking below. Right, you get a catch, all right, they got to rotate, now you're looking below to the next guy. And especially early, we really made them pay with getting fouled or finishing at the rim, right? Whether it was a dunk or an easy layup or whatever it might be. And I think when you get easy shots like that, it just builds and gives you confidence on that on both ends of the floor.
I wanted to ask about the big man passing in particular because you had Lovering with 6 and then Whalen with 3 and Dawes and Lohner each had 2 apiece. How much of a point of emphasis was it with them in terms of passing and looking for opportunities to move the ball and create opportunities?
Yeah, that we're always going to emphasize that. I thought we passed up some good shots to great shots. Lawson, career high 6 assists. Lawson is a really good passer. Like, Lawson doesn't do some things, but he is really, really good at some other things, like really good for a 7'1" guy. And he is a high-level passer, decision maker. It was very noticeable in the Iowa State game when he was on the floor. We were +1. A lot of that was his passing, his ability to hit back cutters and find a guy open on time on target. Zach's good with that as well. Jake and KD just kind of do it. They're like, to me, they're kind of like quote unquote triple double guys, right? Like they just kind of stuff the stat sheet. Like on any given night, they can just do what they did tonight scoring wise, but they see the floor. Like they see the floor, and they don't. All they want to do is win. There's no BS. They just want to win. They just want to make the right play. And so you know what? You got to get those guys on the floor. And who's the other guy? Caleb. Caleb's still like Caleb. I think the game is slowing down, but he's still getting accustomed to everything, and it's been about a month. So like things are slowing down, but just all the intricacies of our terminology and everything that way. But that was fun to see. And of course it helps when you finish the plays at the rim. Those stats add up a little quicker, right? When you can make them pay with KD's 5 dunks, like, okay, well, there's 5 easy assists. You know what I mean? In some respects. So, but that's what it's about. You got to be able to finish.
Craig, you've talked a lot during this losing streak of just getting back to physicality and also getting back to having a free-flowing offense.
Yep.
I'm curious, how much do those two things kind of complement each other? Does it start with the defense in your mind and then it leads into the offense? I mean, walk me through that.
Yeah, it's both. Physicality is everything. Like we'll go 5-on-0, which is like we're rehearsing our plays, so to speak. Right, we're running our plays without a defense, so it's like a dress rehearsal, I suppose. I'm not good with band choir plays, like that's not my deal. But I know, like when I was a little kid, there was a dress rehearsal. So when you're going 5-on-0, like I'll always yell at our guys, be physical. Like when you're setting a screen, and they kind of look at you like there's nobody there to be physical. But your point is have pace, set physical screens. Like there was a time in this year where we were not setting physical screens, like we'd bail out, like, and it's like, what are we doing? Physicality wins, and this league is all about that. And so, to me, it always starts on the defense, and great defense is truly a mindset. It is. It's a mindset of everything, of warring through a screen, of communicating, of boxing out, of sitting in stance and guarding the ball, of protecting the rim. I can go on and on. But I also think it's the same on offense, of wanting and embracing contact. We had a stretch there, towards the end of the first half, middle to end, where I thought we threw up a couple hope shots, like we're at the rim, double clutch, triple clutch, you know what I mean? Kind of go off soft, almost hoping it goes in. Hope shots don't work. So you have to embrace the physicality. You got to go score through that guy, and if you miss it, you miss it. But get fouled, get the and one, right? And so we have to keep growing. That respect, but we're getting better with it, and I think it goes hand in hand. I just think physicality, impact, it's what you got to be to win, and so we have good size, especially you play Jake and KD at the 3. Now you got some real size out there.
We'll go one more after this.
To kind of talk a little bit about KD, he's had his ebbs and
Yep.
flows this season, and at the beginning of the season, you told us, he's a guy to look out for.
Yeah.
I'm curious, now that he's had a little bit of consistency, what else do you think is next for his, I guess, growth and finding, his ebbs
Yeah.
and flows within the lineup? And
KD, sky's the limit for KD. He puts the time in. He gets in the gym. He spends extra time. He cares. Obviously, we all like the dunks, including me. And the way he just had a good mindset. We ran an out of bounds play for him. We haven't run it all year, and we just kind of did it on the fly. He had a good look on that, especially on the offensive end, and he kind of get a quick jab, drove hard left, finished the play. I thought he got off to a little bit of a slow start on the defensive end, and then went to a timeout. And to his credit, I kind of jumped him, got after him a little bit with a couple things, and he self-corrected. And I thought from that point on, he was really good. So excited, man. He could bring us a whole different dimension to our team. He had a good look, and what I'm really proud with KD is he really hung in there and stuck with it. It's not always easy, right? And you're losing, and your minutes are a little bit, but you know what? Maybe he played like that because he went through that too. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of ways to look at this stuff, right? Wow, you good? Well, maybe he got better because he had to go through some of that stuff, and you find out who you are too. There's a lot of ways to look at things, but I'm proud of him, man. He's a great kid. He's not a kid. He's a great young man. He's a very talented guy, and man, who knows where his future is going to hold, right? Like as to where he can go, but he can really grow in some areas too, and I'm confident he will.
Each one of you three obviously had various successes tonight, career highs, different things. What allowed today to be more free for you guys on the offensive side of the ball specifically?
What was our biggest focus offensively? We just said it in the locker room. Take care of the ball. We took care of the ball. That's a team who most of their offense comes off turnovers, just like honestly every team we've played so far in the Big 12. And I think we've been growing in that sense, and it translates to the half court and transition where we can take care of the ball, trust each other. It's beautiful.
Ezra, you finished the game 7 of 8 from the free throw line. Just kind of given the struggles this season, not just for you, but for everybody. Team finished, 17 of 24. Just how good was it to see that success from the line today?
I understand you trying to say I sucked. I'm just playing. I just think I was just really focused, taking my time. I just think that's really a confidence thing, more of, get in the gym, shoot 100 free throws. I just think that's a confidence thing, and my confidence was just all-time high about just following through, so stay with it. I know I missed one, so I'm still mad at myself.
This is for all three of you guys. Craig has said, he wants to find a consistent identity. I'm curious tonight, how much closer do you guys feel like you are in terms of finding that identity that you guys want to have and all that?
I just say, I think we took a big step. I'm not going to say that we're 100% there, but we took a big step, taking it game by game, executing every week's game plan. At least it's just taking a really game at a time and not looking ahead. So we just executed this week's plan. We won, so now it's really on to the next.
After these first few Big 12 games where you've kind of found yourself in some holes, you get out to that 12-0 start tonight. Just how much did that play for you guys to be able to find some confidence and just be able to play the way you know you can?
I think it was really good for us. We really built off of Iowa State, even though we lost box score wise, but we really did a lot of good things, and just we took what we did from then and the 2 practices leading up to this, in the game you could see how we came out and kind of dominated right away.
Jake, I'd be curious, just with the way that Ezra was finishing around the rim and the way Dawes was finishing around the rim with the dunks, do you feel like that opened up some looks for you outside? You finished 3 for 3 from the 3-point range. Just how did you feel their success opened up things for you?
For sure, yeah. I think it opens the floor when we can dominate in the paint and finish. I think they said we won the paint battle 46-24, I believe. That's big time for this team. We're so long, we're so physical offensively in the paint. And I think when we can take advantage and look inside, it opens everything up for, everyone else on the court. We have so many guys who can shoot, so.
Craig's talked about the last few weeks how he's trying to get you guys back into kind of that rhythm that you had early on in the season where you guys were just moving the ball, it was flowing, right? Do you feel like tonight was much more indicative of that performance? Do you feel like it's trending that way, or kind of what kind of allowed, or is it different than kind of where you've been at lately?
I just think it's taking advantage of what is out there. Honestly, like if we're going to be playing against, salute to them, but if we're going to be playing against some smaller guys, why not dominate them in the paint? If we're playing against guys who's going to overplay things, like a lot of plays today was off back cuts because they overplay. So just really just trying to figure out the other team's identity and their weakness, and we attack their weakness. So I think that's the big thing.
On defense, you guys obviously swarmed on the rim, made it very difficult for them to get shots down there. Was that kind of part of that emphasis as well, of just being able to kind of dominate them based on their size and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, that's the emphasis every day, like practice and every game, no matter who we play. And like you said, they were a little bit smaller, and I think we're one of the tallest teams in the country, so that definitely helped. But it wasn't just like a today thing. Like, that's something we're trying to carry on for every single game and every day.
To kind of piggyback off of that, sorry. To piggyback off of that, Craig talked about setting the standard and having a standard of play in terms of physicality and toughness after that Iowa State game. Do you guys feel like this is sort of the standard? You guys feel like you got off to a good first step here with that standard of play?
Yeah, absolutely. Came out strong, and I think that's what gave us a big lead. And, coming out in the second half, we got to come out strong again because I believe that we just been having, like, slow starts. And that's what, kind of gets us too deep in the game where we just like, oh, damn, we got to fight to go back. Like, it's, I just think it's just coming out strong, honestly.
I think too, after Texas Tech, we came back that next day and we moved on. And starting, I think that was last Sunday, we moved on to Iowa State. And obviously, like Katie said, the box score, they beat us by quite a bit, but we felt like we played a really good game most of that game, and they're a really talented team. But all throughout this week, I'd say Thursday and yesterday were some of our two most physical, toughest practices we've had, and we saw that carry over, and we have to keep that rolling.